Now, countless web searches are carried out on Chinese language web search engines every day, and each day we take a look at some of the most popular of those searches to give you an idea of what's trending amongst Chinese net users. For our first top search today, we head to 163.com and aircraft carrier Liaoning anchors in Qingdao. The Liaoning is the name of China's first aircraft carrier, which was handed over to the PLA, that's the People's Liberation Army Navy, last September. Now, state media have reported that currently the flagship has anchored for the first time in a military port near the city of Qingdao. The carrier, bought as a hulk from Ukraine in the 1990s, underwent extensive renovation and refitting in the port of Dalian in Liaoning province over several years. The ship is now berthed at a newly completed aircraft carrier bay in Qingdao, which will provide logistical services for the Liaoning and serve as its home port. Recently, China's J-15 fighter jet conducted deck takeoffs and landings from the Liaoning, a first for China. During the short voyage from Dalian, media reported the ship's personnel also carried out tests on its weapon systems. The carrier's new home, known as the Qingdao Jiaodong Aircraft Carrier Base, will serve as the centre of operations for the Liaoning and its supporting vessels. However, the aircraft carrier will still need to return to the shipyard in Dalian for repairs and maintenance. Next, staying with 163.com, we have this rather sad phrase: Yi Ruilong's body found. ChinaNews.com reports that after a two-day search, the remains of one of China's best-known hang glider pilots were recovered from Hanyuan Lake in Sichuan province this week. 70-year-old Yi Ruilong disappeared last Sunday after his hang glider crashed into the remote lake in the hinterland of Sichuan province. A fellow pilot was filming at the time and witnessed Yi's glider crash. Nicknamed China's #1 hang glider pilot, or China's #1 flying man, Yi had been in the air flying hang gliders for over 20 years and completed a number of firsts, including flights over such iconic Chinese mountains as Mount Tai, Mount Hua and Mount Amei. Rescuers were alerted by Yi's family and witnesses, and 3 teams scoured the lake but didn't find his body until Tuesday. It's unclear whether the veteran pilot died as a result of the crash or drowned afterwards. Now we move to Zika.com and unfortunately another aerial tragedy, this time abroad. Egypt hot air balloon crash. 9 tourists from Hong Kong were amongst 19 people killed when a hot air balloon caught fire and crashed in Egypt. The accident occurred on Tuesday during an early morning flight near the ancient Egyptian city of Luxor. Local reports said a gas canister caught fire as the balloon was attempting to land with 21 people on board. The Egyptian pilot and a British tourist managed to jump or were thrown from the basket. Both were injured but did survive. The balloon then quickly ascended to around 1,000 feet where the canister exploded, causing the balloon to catch fire and plummet to the ground. The balloon ride was an optional activity costing $190 per person, and the 9 people from Hong Kong who died were part of a group of 15 on a 10-day package tour. The other victims came from Japan, Britain, France and Belgium. And our final top search today comes from Baidu.com, and it is Top 10 TV Drama Repeats. A recent top 10 published in Chinese media listed the TV dramas with most repeat runs on Chinese television. Now, given that government regulators strictly control the topics that TV dramas can deal with, the rankings were heavy on period costume dramas and the war with Japan, which both tend to be mainstays of primetime viewing in China. Typical titles included Empresses in the Palace, Drawing the Sword, Princess Pearl, and a costume sitcom, My Own Swordsman. And some of the figures are quite astounding. For example, Drawing the Sword had more than 3,000 repeats over 5 years. And remember, this is not one episode, but an interminable multi-part series. Meanwhile, Hunan Satellite TV, which owns the copyright to the hugely popular Princess Pearl, repeated the lengthy series no less than 13 times in 1 year. But topping the list was Empresses in the Palace, which Hebei TV felt was so good it deserved to be shown non-stop for a whole day during the recent Spring Festival. Commenting in the People's Daily, an industry insider named only as Wu said, on the one hand, the list shows some classic dramas stand the test of time. On the other hand, it shows the dearth of good drama production on Chinese television. Well, that is it for our look at some of the top searches taking place in China today. You're watching China Take. Coming up next, a Chinese blogger's reaction to a Ministry of Environmental Protection decision not to publish soil pollution data.